Welcome to another episode of the Fence Show, ActiveYards edition. I am in Sanford, Maine with
Big Fish Fence Supply. Welcome.
I'm here with Larry Goddard of Big Fish Fence Supply. How you doing today, Larry?
Oh, thank you very much, Pete. I'm doing wonderful. A little dreary out there, but as far as fish are concerned, we like the wet.
You like the wet? Well, Larry, welcome to the show. Something tells me this is not going to be a normal interview. And I think I'm prepared, so I want you to relax. Going to get through all the real difficult questions, hit all the controversies, and we should be off to the races.
Well, the only complaint that I have is my last order smelled like a bunch of dead fish.
Oh, come on. All right. We may have to look into this, the PG rating of the rating of this interview. So Larry, where are we? Where are we sitting?
Oh, we're in Big Fish's ActiveYards showroom here at South Sanford, Maine, population 15.
And where in Maine are we? We're like a location.
Southern Maine, exit 19 off the Maine Turnpike, which is the locals call it Northern Mass.
Okay, this is Northern Massachusetts. They skip right over New Hampshire.
Right over New Hampshire. We're just there for a $3 toll, and then you're in Maine.
Like it doesn't exist. Yeah. Well, you know. What I would like to do today is get to know, how you ended up here, because I've met you 18 years ago, and you weren't here. You were somewhere else. So, tell me how you got into the fence business in the first place.
Oh boy, I had the opportunity to on a part-time job with a friend of mine who was a fence contractor. I was young, bringing up a family, fixed income kind of thing, and it worked into my schedule as installing fences in the Boston market.
Just as a subcontractor?
As a subcontractor.
So you didn't have to get the work; you just got the work from someone else that had the work.
That's correct.
Yeah. And so, what type of fence did you do mostly at that point?
Back there, there was a lot of stone walls. Cedar wasn't invented yet. Chain link was just coming together, so it was primarily chain link and cedar fence.
And this is in probably the 70s, 80s?
Late 70s.
Late 70s. Yeah. And so all through the 80s, you continued doing that while you had your other job?
Yeah. We ended up going to work for probably the oldest company in Boston, and we were subcontracting for him. The guy took me under his wing and wanted to get out of the business, offered me the business. At the time, Sandy and I put our house on the line, took out a mortgage, bought the business, which was kind of run down. I remember building the business back up to the point where it was a saleable business, and got involved with you, got into vinyl fence, did commercial work, guardrail, and just grew that business to it was a viable business.
What year did you buy that business?
Oh, I would say 78.
Oh, really?
78.
Wow. And the whole time now you continued working your other job?
Right.
So from 78 to 2000 or so, you had two jobs?
Yes.
So fencing was always a hobby for you. It's not just a hobby today, it was a hobby then too.
Well, I kind of turned it around a little bit,
But that is amazing that you actually, you kept your other job. Do you mind sharing what your other job was?
Yeah. I worked started out with the Boston and Maine Railroad, and then went to Amtrak and retired from Amtrak.
Wow.
So 32 years.
The company that you ran through the 80s and the 90s, you sold around 2004 or something like that?
2002.
2002. And then that's where I met you. For the record, I met Larry, fun story. I met Larry at San Antonio Fence Show 2001. Or actually, maybe I didn't meet you there. I met one of your associates there. And you may have been there, may not have been there, but I was a manufacturer's rep for a vinyl company, and Larry invited me to come up to his fence company in Massachusetts. And I thought I was just going up to meet Larry on a typical sales call. I was only in the business for a couple of months. And I get into the office, and next thing you know, there's three other guys there. and we go into at the time the boardroom of your company,
Cheese room.
the cheese room as he called it, and I was literally 3 months into the vinyl fence business and 3 months into the.
You made a lot of promises back then.
I did make a lot of promises, but it was funny because it was the first time I ever did like a boardroom, front of the room type presentation, because I thought I was just going to meet a guy talking about fence in the yard, and you put me in a conference room with the 3 or 4 other guys, and I was forced to kind of like sell the vision that you guys already thought you came back from Fence Tech with, which was, hey, we got to get in this vinyl thing. And I'm like ready to start selling you on the potential of it. Then I find out you already both of you guys bought your machines, your routers. And so it was kind of a slam dunk. Like I couldn't have screwed this up if I tried. So now I had to figure out a way to then kind of sell that in the big vision of it. But the funny thing that you guys probably don't remember is that you weren't my territory at the time. I was only the Philadelphia, New Jersey rep. And because I was able to land you guys, reel you in on my, as a big fish, so to speak, I was able to get you guys started. And 18 years later, still involved with you in a different adventure, and then dealing with a couple of the other guys in the room as well. So do you remember that?
Well, I do, but I never really thought that you were a poacher.
What does that mean?
Well, you were in someone else's territory. You can't fish that pond.
Well, I figured that it was eminent domain, so that the first person to get a customer in New England was going to get the deal for New England. So as we all know the rest of the story with that company, we went on to build it. I ended up going to work, not as an independent, but went on and became the vice president of sales and national sales manager. And that was the beginning of all the end, and that increased the value of your business, so therefore you were able to sell it. So we never talked about what vinyl did to the top line value of the company that you sold. So I'll be expecting some royalties at some point,
Well, you're certainly entitled to them. But it would be out of that business, and that's
that's long gone.
That's long gone.
Okay, so then you sell that business, and then you're supposed to just be retired and go off to the sunset and just make yourself scarce like every other guy who sells a fence company. So what happened?
So the story goes on. I still had some friends. We had started another business on the side. My wife was kicking up her heels. She said, I'm retired, rah, rah, rah. She's all happy. I said, Sand, let's just start this little business up at the lake, and we'll sell a couple scrap pieces of vinyl every now and then. So off it went. And here we are today, putting a flag up in Maine, having a great time. Enjoy the ActiveYards sorority, or whatever you want to call it.
Fraternity.
And
that was 10 years ago. So you started Big Fish Fence Supply.
Yeah.
So you convinced Sandy, your wife, to start the business
just
again.
Open the mail.
So yeah. So you, but the purpose of you being in southern Maine was this was your vacation home area that you always went to. So you had roots here, and then you probably thought that you might want to retire here someday. Is that what the general plan was?
Well, I really didn't have any plans of retiring.
Well, you might want to continue playing here for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So we try to have fun every day.
Yeah. And so when you started Big Fish, because I kind of remember it. It was, and I can't believe it's literally 10 years ago or 9 years, whatever it has been. It's just amazing where time goes. And I remember I said something awful to you, about 8 years ago. I said, you did a great job. This business is fantastic. Can you just pick it up and move it to New Jersey?
Yeah.
Because there was no population, there was no businesses. Then I pull in yesterday, and I noticed that, the people in Bentonville, Arkansas noticed that you were creating a shopping district, so they decided to put a Walmart in your front yard. So that goes to show that you were ahead of your time.
The neighborhood went downhill fast,
Well, I mean, you made it into the shopping district of South Sanford.
Yeah.
So, but over the past 10 years, obviously, you've been able to develop a great customer base, and you don't install, right? So you're strictly just a supply house, right?
Well, we haven't dug a hole in 12 years.
Yeah. So it's all material sales.
It's all material sales.
And now, how long have you been with ActiveYards? Did you start? Do you remember? Or was it like as soon as you opened up, or was it a year after you opened up? I forget.
There was another program that you were involved with. I can't remember the name, but we started out with that, and then ActiveYards opportunity came along, and I think it was Ground Floor invited into the ActiveYards program.
You had emperor, what they call it, professor emeritus status. So you were grandfathered in. Literally, he was grandfathered in. So that's about when you got started with it. And I remember, we were just learning what we were going to do with ActiveYards at the time, and so because you were just going to sell, it was confusing for me because I didn't know how a wholesaler was going to fit in. So you and a couple of the other guys that were wholesalers that still wanted to be part of ActiveYards, and I wanted you to be part of ActiveYards. We had to figure out how to do it. So I think over the past years, 5-6 years, we've actually have figured out how to do it. And you've done a great job as a distributor of ActiveYards, which is kind of unique up here in Maine because other parts of the country, we don't have that, so most people are just direct dealers. And you've done a fantastic job of not only distributing just out your door here with the brand, but then actually setting up dealers that you can service better than we certainly could from the factories. So that's been I think a win-win.
Yeah, we've been able to take care of our A-game players or whatever with problems, everyday problems that they run out of, the customer changes something, and because we're at local, you're 80 miles away.
Yeah.
We'll solve their problem. They'll finish their job. They'll get paid. We'll get paid, and it's a good relationship.
Yeah, and this business, we're in a nice showroom right here, and you manufacture cedar and distribute cedar.
Yeah.
You manufacture to some degree vinyl.
Yeah.
And then you weld chain link.
Right.
So you're kind of a full service operation.
We are.
Soup to nuts.
We're a supplier.
Yeah.
Someone wants something, overhead track gates, whatever. We'll put it together and make it happen for the contractor.
How would you describe your relationship with ActiveYards?
We'll see how this interview goes. But right now, it's a little shaky,
No, I mean in general, of all the years, what's been good?
I like the people you have involved with it, Pete. I like the whole program, the brochures, the co-op, the feeling that you're a part of something, and it's great. I mean, once a year or twice a year, we have a meeting. We look forward to them.
Yeah.
It's a reward for us as a dealer or supplier or whatever to get together, make friends with people across the country, and just enjoy the business.
Yeah, that's what I like most about it. We think that you and your wife and the whole team have played a huge role in ActiveYards. I mean, because there's a lot of spirit about ActiveYards, and I think now we're starting to tap into that because it's becoming rock solid. I mean, we've been doing it for so long, and the strong survive. And if I quote you from many years ago, you said something like, you're either with us or against us. So that's kind of
in or you're out.
Yeah, you're in or you're out.
Yeah,
and we never had that problem with you, and it's been a lot of fun, growing the business and bringing the value to people. What are you most proud of with the business that you've been able to build, here over the past 10 years?
Oh, I'd like to see the people that have helped along the way.
Yeah. Employees
that have bought houses, put kids into college, whatever, just helping give them another start. I don't know how many guys have started their own little fence businesses because of me, so.
I think that's something that we chatted about that a little bit last night, and I feel that as well, and it's so clear that people can see that. When you make an impact on any sort of business, you realize, holy cow, because I did this, all these things happen. So like, for example, because I followed up on meeting, Art or Ronnie or whoever I met down in San Antonio, and I picked up the phone, I called you, I would actually say that you have probably had more of an influence on my career than almost anyone out there. Because you create everything I was able to develop over the past 20 years or 18 years was because of that first sales call to Boston. Because that's where I met Ronnie and I met you. I learned about the wholesale part of the business. I learned about the value added part of the business, and I also learned about the whole beauty of the relationship aspect and the chemistry between people that then can harness things into bigger stuff. So like that genesis from that day to today, I've been involved with that group of people now in one way, shape, or form through 3 different companies.
For 20 years.
Yeah, and think of all the people that have benefited because I was given that platform. Because if I hadn't met you guys, I might have been out of that deal fairly quickly. I might not have had the strength to weather the storm of what we had to weather in 2001 with the changeover, that marketing plan and all that. So I thank you sincerely for what you've done for my career and how you've brought so much fun and levity to all of the things that we've done with ActiveYards over the past 10 years. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome, Pete. Can we now just talk about discounts?
No. We don't talk about price on the Fence Show. I think that the Fence Show is reserved for what I like to talk about is all the rainbows and lollipops about the fence business. We don't talk about any reality here. We don't talk about.
This is all fake.
We don't talk about late orders. We don't talk. This is just all the
packaging is terrific.
Yeah. So we're just talking about good things. So now, what I admire a lot about you is that you're really a fence guy. I mean, you're a quintessential fence guy. You know the fence business. What's your basic principles of the fence business? Like, so if you're gonna from a sales and marketing side, what's your basic philosophy of the fence business?
You've heard it before. You know where it came from, but it's the model that I think everyone should live with.
Now listen up.
It's simple.
Listen up.
Buy fence, sell fence, get paid.
That's right. And do it over and over and over again.
Buy fence, sell fence, get paid.
And what I admire about the way Larry has said this, because I've heard this once or twice before, is that they say buy fence first. Now I know a lot of dealers, they sell the fence first, then buy it, and then they get paid. So I love the idea of buying the fence first. That way you've got an investment and you have to sell it.
That's right.
And then you have to go on. So, but what about the fence industry as a whole? Because I'm super passionate about the fence business. I love it. What do you like about the fence business? Because I know you haven't missed a fence tech probably in years, right? You think it's like the yearly vacation to Disney World.
It's vacation time.
I see you walking around fence tech. You have your bag, you go to every booth, and you talk to every single person.
Those were the old days.
Now you just go to the ActiveYards.
I give them the card, swipe the card, send me the stuff. I'm not gonna.
But what do you like about the fence business? What's the coolest thing about the fence business over 30, 40 years?
It's so underrated. It's so self-gratifying when you finish a job or whatever, to step back, look at it. There's creativity in the whole deal. Everyone had a salesman, but the bottom line was the last person, the installer, had to finish it, put the finishing touches on it, sell the job the way they wanted to do it, And they were the professional. That's why they hired this company or that company or whatever. I think just the self-satisfaction of seeing a finished product in a short amount of time.
Yeah. And then what about the as you moved away from the installing yourself, now you take that one step further. You mentioned it before. Don't you love teaching people how to make money in our business?
Yeah.
I think that's the most fun for me.
I'd like to, say, here's the old so-and-so, maybe we should ask him what he thinks, what his problem was. And I try to solve. You want everyone to be successful.
Right.
You want them to make money, so they buy more fence.
Yep.
You want and keep them under your wing. You just want success.
Yep. What do you think over the years? You were here way before vinyl and aluminum. So how do you think
Pete.
Stone walls? His iPad was like the slate thing that the Flintstones had.
Chisel.
Matter of fact, I actually saw you using an iPad today, and I couldn't tell whether you were Fred Flintstone with the chisel. I'm not kidding. He was on the best iPad money can buy, and this is how he was doing it. It was very similar to the of Fred Flintstone. But we're going to take you into the 21st century.
Let's keep this nice.
Would you say, are your goals for the future for Big Fish Fence Supply? What are you doing with this?
Well, we're not. I'd rather not say it this morning.
Well, you don't want anybody to hear what your plans are?
I want to eat tonight.
Do you want to create, I'll give you some ideas. Open up 5 or 6 of these.
Oh, yeah. In warmer climate.
In warmer climates.
Yeah.
I don't know where he got that idea, but I think that would be a good idea.
That was you last night.
Well, the general idea would be that to build something upon it, because I can't believe what you've done with it. I mean, it's amazing how you've built the business just out of determination and perseverance. Got through those first couple years. We're in Maine, guys. There's only 4 months to really kick butt here. I'd imagine 4 or 5 months, right? And that means that's 8 long, lonely, quiet months about talking about fence, right?
Special projects.
Yes. So what do you guys do in the winter here on January 17th? What are you doing? What is going on here on January 17th?
Hopefully we're on a jet headed south,
Going to the fence show. Yeah. But do you work? I mean, you keep business all winter, but you keep everybody, kind of engaged and all that.
There's not a lot of us. We kind of are a shoestring operation.
Yeah.
I think we have five full-time employees.
That's it.
4.
Yeah. Well, it's efficient. I mean, you have all you need is is someone to take the orders, someone to count the money, someone to load the truck, and someone to deliver the truck. If you do it right. If you screw up, you actually have to make something. You need the other guy to have to make something. So we want to avoid that at all costs.
No, but we enjoy making stuff.
Yeah, I know you do. You're a tinkerer.
Yeah.
I've noticed everything here that you have. Outside of the fence business, what are your hobbies? What do you do? What do you do that doesn't involve fence? What's your favorite things to do that don't involve fence?
I think that I enjoy going back to the lake, getting on the pontoon boat, and going for a sunset cruise with my wife.
That's your hobby.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can just picture it, what it looks like, and enjoy that every night. And you have a big family.
Well, we have 10 grandkids.
And now you're
3 daughters. None of them wanted anything to do with Papa's fence business. And we just plug along.
Well, your kids, like my kids, like every time I would drive down the street and slow down to look at a fence, they'd be like,
There's
Dad!
A black one. There's a white one.
We're going to talk about that another time.
Okay.
But back in the day, as we would drive by and look at fences, and the kids in the back were like, "Oh, Dad, come on, can we just get going? It's just a fence." Oh. So I'm sure you did that over the years.
The girls, my daughters were involved in the old business. When we were installing, and they did all the slat installations back then. They were aluminum slats. They had to weave them in, and so they went through college doing slats.
Oh,
they got overpaid, but they had a great time.
How do you guys create your business? Like, how do you go out and get business?
Well, we're awfully nice to the customers.
That helps.
Yeah,
Customer service is a big thing.
Yeah. No, actually, we they come in, we promote it, we get the jobs ready, we get them out and fast, and that's how we do it.
And service, yeah.
Service.
It's no matter how you slice it, the supply business is a service business, and even as a large manufacturer, it's very difficult to provide everybody the service, at the level that, I think a regional company can provide, which is what you guys are here for, which I think is paramount to, your success and then your customer's success of buying from you and all that. So, because I obviously, I know I've met a lot of your customers, and I know that they're very happy and have had good experiences with it. So it's part of their philosophy of buying fence, selling fence, and getting paid is actually somewhere on the line keeping the customer happy.
Yeah, that's important.
Thank you so much for taking the time today.
been
Is there
a
anything
pleasure.
else you want to tell, a joke or anything? You
Not
want
today.
to you want
It's all
to
serious.
show me any of your props or anything like that? So I will. I'll end the show by giving you the official title of Big Fish. So here you go. Why don't you wear that with pride?
Thank you very much, Pete.
Well, thank you
Thank you,
very much.
fans.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks. All
I
right.
appreciate it so much. Thank you for watching and listening to another edition of The Fence Show, ActiveYards edition. Have a great day.